On this Live Open Daily, I fired up Rec Room for the first time in 3 years because I wanted to check out the new Destiny 2 world built in partnership with Bungie, and I regret my life choices. I'm your host, Live Open Mike. If you don't know what Rec Room is, it is a massively multiplayer online MMO social VR app. Actually, it's expanded to iOS and Android, and soon I think Nintendo Switch. It might actually be out now. But it's basically a free-to-play social hub with a massive user content creation community built around it. So there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of worlds for you to explore. A lot of them really aren't that great, but some of them, like this one from Bungie, where they actually do like officially licensed stuff, is actually pretty cool when you look into like the skins and things that you can get. I should say right here, this is going to be a shorter podcast. Normally I would just upload this as a YouTube video because it's basically a review, but I want to keep the playlist on Spotify, Apple, and iHeart flowing, so we'll upload this as a pod and then again as a YouTube video. I reported on the last episode that Bungie, the makers of Destiny and Destiny 2, have actually partnered with Rec Room to create a custom Destiny 2 world, and Bungie actually gave Rec Room assets from the real game and some of the music to be able to create this world as like a small experience for Rec Room users. Now, if you don't know what Destiny 2 is, this is a free-to-play science fiction first-person shooter. It has PvP and PvE modes. There's also a massive amount of lore built around that game, and most of that is done through paid DLC expansions. They release one every single year since 2017. They range from, I'm looking at Steam right now, the oldest one on here is the Forsaken pack. That one's $20. And the one that just came out in June of this year, the Final Shape, runs for $50. So Destiny fans are used to paying for the paid expansion stuff if they want to keep up with the lore, which honestly probably fits them right in with Rec Room. We'll talk more about that in a minute. I'm going to overlay some footage from my Twitch stream as I talk through this because I spent about 20 minutes in this world on stream just walking through everything that it has to offer. I first showed this to two of my friends who are massive Destiny fans to get their take on it, and they said that this hub area that you first load into, number one, they got the music exactly right, which made sense because they got it from Bungie, but this area that they load into is called the Tower in the main Destiny game, and they got most of the detail right. There are invisible walls everywhere here, so there's only so far you can explore, and if you jump off, you fall maybe like 6 inches before it resets you back on the platform itself. There's not a whole lot to look at here, but if you're a Destiny fan, you could point out like, oh, there's that tree, and there's this bust, and there's this, and there's that. Because when I was in there with my friends, they were sitting there pointing out all the little things that they got right, again, because they got most of these assets from Bungie. To your left when you first load in, there's a box with like a red circle around it that says don't grab. I'm in VR, so of course I'm going to grab it because I want to grab every single thing that I can in VR. That's kind of the fun of it. So you grab it with both hands and it starts the floor is lava minigame. I thought this was ridiculous until my friends told me that no, this is a part of the real game too. So at that point, the floor basically becomes hot and you have a health bar and you have to navigate yourself to this like shining light beacon on the other side of the tower where you're at. It was actually a fun little mini game. It was something to do, and then after I figured that out, I went over to look at the skins. So right now, and it says so in the press release that I talked about on the last podcast, they currently have the Hunter skin available and you can buy the full Kyle set. I didn't know how much this was going to cost, so that was one of the first things I beeline for. I'm going to stop here and say that since this was an official collaboration between these two companies, and because both of these are free to play, I expected a heavy amount of microtransactions, so not really surprised by what I saw. There are 3 different classes available in Destiny 2, and they translated all this to the Rec Room world. One is the Hunter, that's the skin that's available right now, and they said that the Titan skin and the Warlock skin are both coming soon. If you buy all pieces of the Hunter skin, and if you buy the full pack of the Rec Room tokens, I think the cheapest you can get it is about 700 tokens for every $1. You're going to spend about $70 for the entire skin. That includes the 2 optional gun skins. And that's just one skin. So if you want Titan or if you want Warlock, then you're going to spend another $70 on top of that. To be clear, I'm not making fun of this at all. I was a little shocked when I had someone in my stream do the math for me to figure out how much it costs. But I was like, whoa, really? But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this is a free-to-play app. They got to make money somehow. And then people are willing to pay it, which going around some other Rec Room worlds, I saw that they really were. Whatever, get your bag. So after you decide whether or not you want to buy the skin and you finish the Floor is Lava game, the next thing to do, actually the last thing to do, is to hop into this portal to take you to what I thought was going to be a PvP mode where you compete against other players, but instead it's just a timed shooting range. In this area, you can pick between one of the 3 classes. Your skin does not change, so it's still the same skin you came in with Rec Room, because, you know, again, Rec Room got to get that bag. But it does affect how you actually move, because each of the 3 classes, Hunter, Warlock, and Titan, all have different jumping abilities, and depending on your playstyle, that's actually going to help you get all the targets. So after you pick your class, the next thing you do is pick your weapon. There are 5 different guns ripped straight from the actual Destiny game. I'll run through the list. Destiny fans will recognize these right away. It's the Ace of Spades hand cannon pistol, the Divinity Trace rifle, a Quicksilver Storm automatic rifle, a Chaperone shotgun, and Izanagi's Burden, which is a sniper rifle. So after you pick your class and your weapon, the next thing is just to start the round. You go into the shooting range and you have, I think it was 2 minutes to go through and try to shoot as many of 45 targets as you can. Here's where your class structure actually comes into play. Each of them jumps a different way. So for instance, the hunter can actually triple jump, so you can just tap the A button to jump 3 times, and that gets you to the highest platforms if you time your triple jump correctly. The titan on multiple jumps will actually have these like rocket boosters or something where they can just kind of float in the air, which you can just hover and hit the other targets that you want. And then the warlock also hovers, but it just works in a different way. That one took a little bit longer to kind of get used to. The titan ended up being my favorite. That's the one I finished the entire course of all 45 targets with. It took me about 5 tries to hit all 45 targets and get to the end before the time limit ran out. I used the Titan class with the Quicksilver to do it. It was actually pretty satisfying to finish the whole thing. But really, that's it. There's no PvP mode, there's no PvE mode. There is a leaderboard for whatever shard you're in. Shards can hold up to 8 different people. So if you go into a shard, you might compete for the top leaderboard in whatever one you're in. And that's something you would just grind for, but you're not earning any new guns or any new skins or anything like that. All of that stuff is paid, which again, this is Destiny and for Rec Room, get your bag. So if you're a fan of Destiny, you play a lot of VR, I guess there is some level of wish fulfillment in this. But when I showed it to my 2 friends, they both said, okay, that's really cool. They got a lot of stuff right. But after they showed them the target range and I finished, they said, oh, that's it. Yeah, I'm probably not going to hop into that. I still stand by what I said on Friday. I'm glad that they did this. I'm glad that Bungie and Rec Room made this partnership. And I hope to see more partnerships with Rec Room. They've done stuff with like Five Nights at Freddy's, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I checked out that world as well. They've done a bunch of partnerships with companies to get different IPs in there in an official capacity. And let me tell you, after playing this and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, the next one I played was a fan-made Red Dead Redemption 2 online version. I'll show some of that footage right now. This one was created by a user and it is night and day between the two of them. So if you're gonna do stuff like this, I'd rather it be the official version, get all the official assets, get the official music, stuff like that. But understand that because you're in Rec Room, you're gonna get a very limited experience. If you're a fan of Destiny, I guess there's some element of wish fulfillment here, but if you're not a fan of Destiny, this is probably gonna be something you're gonna steer clear of. Just from a Rec Room perspective, this was a very limited experience. There are full-blown worlds in Rec Room that do like horror experiences and full-blown shooters and sports games and a ton of different things you can do. By comparison, even though this one is officially licensed and they got all the assets right, what you can actually do in that, the actual experience, is fairly limited. So really this felt like kind of a throwaway experience, and I understand why it was priced that high. All the other skins that I looked at in every other world were a lot cheaper than this, but they have to pay for the license somehow, so it makes sense. And frankly, if you're a Destiny fan, you're used to paying these prices because you pay for all these DLCs over the course of the last 7 or 8 years. In general though, even though this was very limited, I do hope that by they I mean Rec Room, continue to do experiences like this, because getting officially licensed stuff into VR however we can is really going to be a win-win. And if this does well enough and makes Rec Room and Bungie enough money, who knows what expansions that could come from this. I think it'd be really cool to have an actual Destiny 2 experience, like a full PvP experience built within Rec Room itself, and then who knows what Bungie might look at from there. Visually, from what my friends told me, because they were looking at it while I was playing it, they got all the little things right. Like I said, Bungie did provide them with the assets, but it's all scaled down. So like the skyboxes are all super low resolution, even though it looks exactly the same as you would see in the main game. All the little elements of the tower are there. Some stuff is in the wrong place from what I got told, but mainly they got everything right, even though there's invisible walls everywhere. So the level of the platform that you're on is all you can go to. You can't go to lower platforms, can't go to upper platforms. It's literally walk in, do the floor is lava, buy the skin, do the shooting range, that's it. Like I said, you do the whole thing in about 5 minutes. So no, this is not Destiny 2 in virtual reality as much as people would hope for that to happen. It definitely wasn't going to happen in Rec Room in the first place. But again, who knows, maybe Rec Room and Bungie look at this and say, hey, this actually made a lot of money. Let's do a PvP mode. Let's expand on this with a PvP mode. You never know. So everything has to start somewhere. I'm not going to say this is good, even by Rec Room standards, this is very, very limited, but as a bit of like fan service, it's fine. If you're a Destiny fan, check it out. If you're not, steer clear. There's millions of other Rec Room worlds to check out. That's a wrap for this episode. Catch Live Open daily on iHeart, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Also check me out on Twitch. I stream VR there several days a week, twitch.tv/liveopenmic. Thanks, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.